Yesterday in Atlanta, Panama mauled Cuba, and Mexico edged out TNT, setting up a Gold Cup semifinal rematch between those two Group A foes. Today, we discover who will join them Wednesday in Dallas, the United States. They haven't won this competition since 2007. El Salvador has never made it past the quarterfinals. Today, those two tangle in Baltimore. It's a sold-out M&T Bank Stadium, the home of the Ravens, which is set to fly with a huge Gold Cup quarterfinal showdown.
Team USA is on a mission. With 8 straight wins, the longest streak in their 100-year history. Can anyone stop the red, white, and blue?
Blasted home by Wondolowski. Into the box to header.
Landon Donovan. What a play.
Shea shot. He scores in the U.S. lanes.
Today, either they get win number 9 or they're going home. The United States versus El Salvador in the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Right now on Fox.
Only Mexico has won this competition more than the United States, but it's been 6 long years since the U.S. last celebrated Gold Cup glory. Many feel that streak will come to a close this year. El Salvador rolls in knowing that their upset bid will be spurred on by massive support in the stands, a huge Salvadorian population in the Northeast, particularly in the D.C. Baltimore metro area. Sold-out M&T Bank Stadium, the site for our Gold Cup quarterfinal matchup between the U.S. and El Salvador. And we welcome you to the Sprint pregame show, Sprint official partner of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. I'm glad you're with us today, alongside ex-U.S. internationals Heather Mitts, Kobe Jones, former English international Warren Barton. I'm Rob Stone. It is a tournament, guys, that so far has gone perfectly to plan for Jurgen Klinsmann. The program's leading scorer, Landon Donovan, seamlessly reintegrating himself back with the team. The goals are flowing, and numerous faces have pushed themselves into that World Cup roster conversation, but some tweaks to that roster this week. The states, they exercised their right to make up to 4 alterations to their roster ahead of knockout play this week. Now, 4 players sent back to their clubs, while Jurgen Klinsmann elected to bring in 2 defenders in Beasler and Gonzalez and 2 forwards from MLS. Gonzalez, however, due to an agreement with his club, the LA Galaxy, will only join the team should the U.S. win today. And Heather, how do you evaluate the decision to tweak what has already been a highly successful roster thus far?
I think they're good changes, and the more that you can have Beasler and Gonzalez playing together in this type of a hostile atmosphere, it's better preparation for the World Cup. And obviously for Eddie to come in as well, he's a great scorer off the bench. He will add to the dynamic forwards that they have.
And when we look at these changes that have been made, I mean, you have to understand, Jurgen Klinsmann looked at this tournament as a situation where he was going to look at a lot of different players. So bringing guys in, everyone has to understand that. Jurgen Klinsmann brings these guys in, especially in the defensive aspect, to try to solidify a few of the hiccups that they had, because he wants to win. That's what it's all about now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think ultimately he does want to win the competition. I think it's been a perfect tournament for him. He's getting experience with the younger players. And now being allowed, because of the rules and regulations of the tournament, to bring 4 players in, he's bringing in quality, he's bringing in competition, but also he's bringing in experience. And I think it's vital, going back to what you said, Kobe, he wants to win this tournament and make a statement.
Yeah, the plan is to be back here on Fox a week from today in Chicago for the final. Oh, yeah, that's us, my friend. Put it down in your date. Time now for our Sprint starting lineup. Sprint, official sponsor of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Kobe, we talked about the U.S. making all those new changes, but only one of them in the starting 11 today.
Yeah, bringing in Beasler in the back, number 25. He's going to be a big part of what Jurgen Klinsmann is looking at, to see how he matches up with Goodson in the middle to really solidify that defense. And then a lot has to be looked at Corona, number 5, and Torres, number 16, as far as the service that they give to that man up top, number 19, Wondolowski. And do not forget Landon Donovan underneath.
El Salvador winless in 3 all-time Gold Cup quarterfinal matches, Warren. Here's their approach.
And they've had an indifferent tournament. You know, they've drawn 1, lost 1, and now won 1. But they have got experience. We spoke about the goalkeeper, number 2, Garcia. He's got over 40 caps. Nice balance in midfield. You look at Rona, number 8, over 70 caps. And up front, number 11, he's got 3 goals in this tournament, and Blanco will play off of him.
And they have that 12th man advantage. Huge support for El Salvador in Baltimore. And for more on today's match, we send it live out to Baltimore. Maryland, Eric Winalda, Gus Johnson standing by. And guys, you sat down with U.S. boss Jurgen Klinsmann earlier today. What'd you glean from that conversation?
Well, Rob, we learned a lot. One thing in particular, Eric, Jurgen is definitely concerned with this El Salvadoran side. He feels that they will definitely give them a run for their money.
That's a good way of putting it. And here's the thing, I used to worry. I thought Jurgen Klinsmann was going to need a learning curve for this region. First word out of his mouth was, it's going to get nasty today. He's right. That's exactly what kind of game we're up against with the United States playing against El Salvador. It is going to get nasty, and I think he's got them prepared for that.
Weather a factor, temperatures in the high 80s, low 90s, and he wants his club to be prepared to go out there and fight from the very beginning to the end.
Yeah, and here's another thing. He's been criticized in the past for this, but 2 trainings yesterday. The logic behind that, Gus, is the fact that this team needs to breathe in that heavy air. They need to get used to it. When you just go straight from your hotel room with the AC on out here, doesn't work. So smart, good preparation.
He wants maximum effort from the Americans this afternoon. He told us that guys need to be ready to be carried off the field. Meanwhile, a man that's on the field right now for us is Grant Wall. Let's join him.
Thanks, Gus. This NFL stadium has turned into a sold-out Little El Salvador ahead of today's game, after we learned on Tuesday that El Salvador would be playing here instead of in Atlanta, and nearly 50,000 additional tickets were sold. Maryland has the highest percentage of Salvadorans of any state in the United States, and this is a decidedly pro-Salvadoran crowd. But Landon Donovan told me he's played plenty of times in front of hostile crowds in the United States, and he thinks the extra energy is actually a good thing for the U.S. We'll find out here soon. Rob, back to you.
All right, Grant, thank you. Landon Donovan in the starting 11. 2 goals, 3 assists in this edition of the Gold Cup. The state seeking to extend their current program best winning streak. We'll have a breakdown of that impressive run coming up next. Plus, we'll sit down with 3 of the compelling storylines of this U.S. roster and wait till you hear them sing.
The CONCACAF Gold Cup pregame show is presented by Sprint, official sponsor of the CONCACAF Gold Cup.
We are minutes away from kickoff in Baltimore. The last loss suffered by the U.S. back in May to a top 10 Belgium side that many consider to be a World Cup dark horse side next summer. And after that match, U.S. head coach Jurgen Klinsmann said, quote, "When you lose these games, it's not such a big pleasure, but I'd rather play Belgium 10 more times than El Salvador for the 100th time, because that is where you learn." Certainly some bulletin board type material there for El Salvador, even though both camps tried to play that down yesterday. Here is a look at the winning streak by the numbers for the U.S. Here are the results. This was a friendly. Jamaica, the only road game on this list. World Cup qualifiers, these 3 friendly, and then the bottom 3 all Gold Cup victories. 6 goals allowed through this run, 4 defensive shutouts. The big thing, though, a lot of offense. 26 goals scored by 13 different goal scorers. Chris Wondolowski finding his form, leading all scorers with 6 goals, 5 of those which have come here at the Gold Cup. Now, this Gold Cup has been loaded with compelling roster storylines, particularly for the United States, as they try to fine-tune their camp ahead of a planned 7th straight World Cup Finals appearance next summer. This week in Baltimore, we corralled Stuart Holden, Chris Wondolowski, and DeMarcus Beasley, 3 players who, under differing circumstances, find themselves in a similar boat.
We started a song for Bees being the captain.
You started the song. Don't say we. He started the song.
Bees is the captain of our ship.
I'm not
of our ship. Bees is the captain of our ship. Of our ship. The ship is a tanker. Bees is the anchor. I think if our team was on a boat, we'd probably be, we'd be picking up speed right now. We'd have Wando standing at the front with a harpoon, and, Bees would be standing at the back with the cap on, just cruising. All of us would be in the front, just slaving away.
It's an honor to be, captain of the U.S. team. It's something that I'll never forget, as a player. This is probably one of my highest moments. It probably is my highest moment in my career.
He's one of the best players in U.S. soccer history, and, I know I'll look back on it one day, and it'll be an honor to have played with him.
He's not the most vocal, but when he says something, everyone listens, but he leads by example.
Chris Wondolowski on fire!
Even in Europe, I haven't seen a finisher like Wando. Anything, with his head, with his foot, with his chest, it goes in the goal. The guy very rarely misses.
I call him the 6-yard man. Anywhere around 6 yards, he's going to get on the ball, and he's going to finish it off, and that's a skill that you can't teach.
Headed down for Holden. Holden scored.
Stewie's he's a complete midfielder. That's what I call him. On the field, you know, his presence is always known. You know that when you give him the ball, he's not going to lose it.
You know, he's had injuries. He's worked even harder, and I think he's even better now. No, I'm not sure if I can follow in his fashion footsteps, but I like what he brings to the table. I mean, it's one of a kind. Yeah, no problem.
Donovan for Shea. Shea shot. He scores in the U.S. leads.
8 games in a row we haven't got beat. We're all part of it. You know, all guys are part of it. It's a record, but at the same time, you know, we don't really look at that kind of stuff. We want to keep going and get 11 in a row so we win the Gold Cup.
We want to win this Gold Cup. That's first and foremost, and then play well enough over a year. It's a long time until that World Cup, till next summer. But you know, that's the goal, is to be a part of it somehow, some way.
I mean, obviously there might be some personnel changes. 40 people can't go to Brazil. I think everybody is looking forward to it and is up for the challenge. I mean, 'cause that's what it's about. But obviously, individually, I know every single person in this Gold Cup wants to go to the World Cup.
Jurgen, he's a great motivator. I think he knows how to get the best out of players, and you know, whether it's giving you a little bit of a taste of it so you want more, or testing you in certain ways. And you know, I know he's left guys out, making them really want it that much more to get back with this national team. And obviously now we're on an 8-game winning streak under him, and with 2 completely different groups. So I think we're all excited for the future under him. Brazil will be the biggest challenge of all.
Like the 3 of those guys are having a good time out there on the waterfront in Baltimore. Kobe, what have those 3 done for their Brazil travel plans next summer?
All 3 of them have helped themselves when it comes down to it. On the pitch, yes, they have that intense competitive nature. But most importantly, it's what you saw in that piece, the camaraderie that they bring on and off the pitch.
Makes you want to come out of retirement. You know, I think all 3 will definitely be on the World Cup team. And Beasley, he's the captain of the ship. Wando coming in, scoring 6 goals. And also Stuart Holden has a ways to come back from his injury, but I think he adds a new dimension to this team.
And I think over the 2 years, this is what Jurgen Klinsmann wanted. He wants competition, and we're talking about this quality of player are not guaranteed to go along. And I think that says a lot about Jurgen Klinsmann. It says a lot about the quality that you have in the MLS. They're all individual players in their own right. Wondolowski's a finisher. Beasley's a leader. And Holden, for me, if he keeps away from injuries, is a must, because when you're away on a tournament, you need characters, you need personalities, and he's obviously got that in abundance.
Of those 3, only Holden not in the starting 11 today. Again, Stuart Holden coming back after a couple really horrific type injuries, fighting to get back into form. He feels he's there, but he's not satisfied being there. He needs to take it to that proverbial next level like he wants to go. Countdown to kickoff brought to you by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did. The U.S. has only been eliminated once in Gold Cup quarterfinal play. Came back in 2000 when they lost on penalties to Colombia. And up next, more on El Salvador and a recap from yesterday's 2 quarterfinal matches. 2 teams familiar with each other, set for another face-to-face.
The CONCACAF Gold Cup pregame show is presented by Sprint, official sponsor of the CONCACAF Gold Cup.
El Salvador advanced to the knockout stage by being one of the top 2 third-place teams as they went 1-1-1 in Group B play. La Selecta has been paced offensively by Rodolfo Zelaya's 3 strikes. The 25-year-old spent the second half of last season in the Russian Premier League, but is now back in his native country playing his club ball. Quarterfinal play kicked off yesterday in Atlanta. 2 favorites, Panama and Mexico, facing 2 heavy underdogs in Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago, respectively. We'll begin with tournament favorite Mexico, who, despite a slow start to this tournament, may finally be finding their groove. Huge support, as usual, for El Tri, but they couldn't break through until the 84th minute.
Luis Montes, Marco Fabian. Back wide, Miguel Layun brings it down. Layun driven cross on the floor, roll in front, and there is the goal! Raul Jimenez. 84 minutes of biting their nails, and Mexico finally able to celebrate as they're into the lead.
3rd straight Mexican victory to propel them to their 9th Gold Cup semifinals. Wednesday night at Cowboy Stadium, they will face Panama, who eventually cruised past Cuba. 1-1 in the 37th minute. FC Dallas forward Blas Perez gets up and heads it down to Gabriel Torres, who buried his 2nd of the match and 5th of this competition. It turned out to be the game winner as Cuba got rolled by Panama 6-1. Our officiating expert all tournament long, Dr. Joe Macknick, joins us right now. And Dr., the handball call played a couple times in that game yesterday. But first, let's talk about the wording that was tweaked slightly the last couple weeks about what really is a handball.
Well, I'll tell you, Rob, prior to this tournament at the referee training camp for the Gold Cup, the word deliberate was emphatically stressed by the referee instructors to describe the action of the hand to the ball. And yesterday we had a decision, which was a very difficult decision for the referee because he was looking through a maze of players, and the action of the hand, or the ball to the hand, was one done with the left hand of the player, the hand furthest away from the referee and perhaps even screened by the player's body.
Not a 100% call in your eyes.
Well, definitely not 100%, and maybe some would say at best 55-45. And the hard part of the decision is, as you know, Cuba scored an absolutely beautiful, unexpected goal to take the lead in the match, and Panama was brought back into the match by this decision on the handball.
The ball eventually went in the net. Had the referee not blown his whistle so quickly, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Neither here nor there.
There's
right?
a learning experience for all referees.
Let's talk about another handball later in the game. Why was this one, in your estimation, not whistled?
Well, I'll tell you, actually, the decision was more of a handball than the first one because the player's hand was actually making a movement towards the ball, and his hand was away from the body. The player had made himself bigger. I think the referee used common sense here. This wasn't a case of serious foul play or violent conduct or protecting the player safety issue. I mean, the game was over. The game was out of hand. Just a common sense decision to let's get on with it.
You know, there's a lot of managers out there saying a handball is a handball no matter what the scoreline is. No comment from you on that one, Dr. Joe, as always. We appreciate the information. All tournament long, we've been asking you to use Instagram and that hashtag Gold Cup on Fox. Here's one from our crew in Baltimore. Eric and Gus catching up with Jurgen Klinsmann not too long ago today. And when we return, we'll head back to Baltimore for our keys to the game. The U.S., the only team to win every game thus far here at the Gold Cup. We're getting closer and closer to kickoff with El Salvador. Here are the head-to-head numbers between the U.S. and El Salvador in their 4 previous Gold Cup clashes. All been won by the U.S. El Salvador has been outscored by a 12-0 margin. Time now for our Chevrolet keys to the game. And for those, we head back to Baltimore and Eric Winalda. Eric, what do you got for us?
I'll tell you what, Rob, this is going to be one of those games where you have to match the energy. I don't know if they got Ray Lewis on their team, but they're going to come flying out of those gates. And let's see how they handle their composure. Kobe and I have lived through a bunch of these. And the most important thing for the U.S. team is to not fall into that kind of thing and don't retaliate and get thrown out of the game. The last part is draw them in, draw them out. What that means is nobody's faster than the ball. Keep the ball moving. If you can get these guys out of position, you might get a goal today. Jurgen Klinsmann looking forward to this one. If this game goes the way I think it is going to go, Joe Machnick's going to be a busy guy, Rob.
Thank you. Yeah, the word chippy was used by Kobe yesterday ahead of this one. The States trying to reach their 11th Gold Cup semifinal. The kickoff with regional rival El Salvador next here on Fox.
The CONCACAF Gold Cup pregame show was presented by Sprint, official sponsor of the CONCACAF Gold Cup.